Solar laws and lunar laws. In these times of world crisis, scientific disquietudes are formidable. Already Morrison and Cochoni, eminent North American physicians, think that scientific societies of extraterrestrial human beings, immensely superior to us, may exist in some parts of the Milky Way. Sighted physicians believe that it is possible that these extraterrestrials want to communicate with us. They have discovered that such cosmic corporations emit waves toward our direction at a frequency of 1,420, Machs per second. Actually, it looks like MC per second is not a standard unit, so it could actually be a typo for megahertz per second. The theory of the plurality of inhabited worlds has already been comprehended by the scholars of science. One argument, among others, which is in favor of this theory, is that which states that certain stars have weak angular velocities such as the sun. Every scholar of science has verified through observation and experience that the smallness of the angular moment of any sun indicates, denotes, or reveals the existence of a planetary system. Scientists are already starting to comprehend that planets which are located in a similar position to that of the Earth in relation to our Sun could be found among all of those millions of worlds within our galaxy. To discard the possibility that some of those planets have civilizations immensely more developed than ours is an absurdity. These scholars state that this possibility can and must be very carefully examined. Certain news stated that Drake, a famous scientist, had the intention of seriously studying the very interesting zone of Seti and Eridano. These stars are found at a distance of 11.4 light years, and these are the closest after the one from Centauri. From the formidable list of closest stars, intelligently elaborated upon by Morrison and Cochoni, it is clear that Seti and Eridano, as well as Indi, are indeed the most interesting after discarding the double stars. It has been verified that because of the very marked perturbed orbits of the planets of the double stars, these planets do not possess uniform climates during very long geologic periods. Gnostics state that many galactic societies exist. These galactic societies know about the critical moment in which we live, and they want and wish to help us. Sirius, the son of the suns of our Milky Way, is a double star. The twin brother of Sirius is a black world of a terrible and frightful density. The vibratory influence of the double star Sirius is very strange. The radiation is suprasolar and infralunar. By simple logical deduction, we can state that the double radiation of Sirius decisively influences all of the supra-heavens and all of the infernos of the Milky Way. It is true that Sirius is the great sun of the Milky Way. Yet, also it is not any less true that its tenebrous twin brother has a density much more astonishing than even the one that could be conceived within the interior darkness of the deadest moon. The double star Sirius is composed of an immense radiant sun, 26 times more brilliant than ours, with a circular trajectory of a period of 50 years, around a white dwarf the size of Jupiter, and 5,000 times more dense than lead. It has been stated onto us that the Milky Way gravitates around the double star Sirius. In a certain way, that double star seems to fill in the excessive gap between the cosmos of the solar system and the Milky Way. The double star Sirius indicates an intense solar and lunar activity within our galaxy. the double star Sirius decisively influences us here and now. So to clarify what this is, one of the stars of Sirius is basically burnt out a black dwarf. And it's essentially like an ember of the star. It will eventually lose all of its heat and become an incredibly small and dense cinder, like a rock or metal, 5,000 times more dense than lead. It's inconceivable the kind of inferior world it rules at that point after that decay. To become free of the lunar influence is something frightfully difficult, yet it is indispensable in order to achieve liberation. On this planet in which we live, the lunar influence is double because the Earth has 2 moons. Through the telescope, the second moon appears black and is the size of a lentil. Occultists have named the black moon Lilith. This second lunar satellite is a kind of 8th submerged sphere. It is a very malignant world. On Earth, the sinister vibrations that come from the black moon originate many monstrosities, abominations, frightful crimes filled with repugnant savagery, inconceivable lust, homosexuality on a great scale, masturbation, pederasty, provoked abortions, and so on. Among the most abominable products of Lilith, it is opportune to cite the case of Count Dracula. This movie's personage truly existed, and H.P. Blavatsky comments about him in one of her books. This great female master stated that such a count, in times of the Tsars, was the mayor of a certain Russian or Romanian town. He mortally hated his wife because vampires are homosexuals. They mortally hate the opposite sex. After his death, Count Dracula presented himself in the house of his abhorred widow in order to lash her violently. At midnight, certain Catholic priests uselessly tried to block Dracula's trot. At the bridge very close to the cemetery, Count Dracula's chariot trampled the priests. When Count Dracula's black and frightful crypt was opened, his living cadaver was found very well preserved and submerged within human blood, since vampires nourished themselves with blood. The great master Helena Blavatsky states that the sinister cadaver were covered in mud. Without a doubt, this shows us that Dracula was escaping at midnight from his sepulture. Dracula's case concluded when the priests wounded his heart with a wooden stick. An order of vampires exists in Palestine. They hide themselves behind the following title: Order of the Immortal Guardians of the Holy Sepulchre. Vampires are the outcome of homosexuality in combination with tantrism between persons of the same sex. It is an execrable monstrosity, a frightful abomination. The double lunar influence of this planet on which we live is terribly mechanistic. It is urgent to nourish ourselves with the apples of gold and apples of Freya, and with the liquor of Soma, or biblical mana, in order to build the solar bodies and to liberate ourselves from lunar laws. It has been stated unto us that our physical sun, as Bahman chronologies demonstrate, rotates around a sun that is infinitely greater or more luminous. Such sun is so luminous, this is why it is invisible before our terrene eyes. Yet, it is mentioned in ancient theogonies with an indispensable mathematical rigor. Yet this equatorial or astral sun, which is the unknowable center from which our physical sun is just a mere planet, is not the only one that exists. But moreover, 2 other more excelsior suns still exist within the superior planes or hyperdimensions of this cerulean space. The Tamil calendars, like the Tirukshanga and Panchanga, call these suns respectively the polar sun, or galactic center of our entire nebula, with its 100 million suns, and the central sun, the center of centers, which in turn entwine and unify as many nebulae of millions and millions of suns that could exist in the millions within the sky. Before the eyes of a mystic, the astral or equatorial sun flamingly shines, assembled in the celestial group, which we call the Pleiades, or Seven Sisters from the constellation of Taurus. Sirius, with its whole magnificence, is the gravitational center of this Milky Way. However, it has to gravitate around the polar sun. The cosmic order would be impossible without the central sun. Variety is unity. The central sun unifies, governs, and establishes a unity within the infinite variety.